It's time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. Happy Friday to everybody out there as January seems to be rolling right along. We'll be into February here before you know it. And I know that I often say that. I'm like, well, the days and the weeks are rolling right along, but they really have been. I mean, ever since this podcast started almost 2 years ago, I just can't believe we're here in 2022, almost, we got 10 more days or so of January, but I just feel like yesterday was Halloween and then Christmas and New Year. I mean, here we are. So the NFL playoffs are upon us. As you guys can tell on YouTube, I got my Rio Hondo shirt on here, Rio Hondo football that I wore quite a bit during the Rio Hondo Prep football season, and very, very proud of the Rio Hondo Prep Cares for the great success they had on the football field this past season. But today will be a little different. We're going to talk some Rio Hondo basketball. Yes, it is January, and for those who've gone to Rio or anyone who's played high school basketball here in California, you know that high school basketball, January, that's kind of league play time where you're playing your local rivals a couple times. In Rio's case, it's the Prep League. You're playing Pasadena Poly, Flint Ridge Prep, Chadwick, those Dolphins from Palos Verdes. Yes, they do, in fact, still play in the Prep League, even though they play 8-man football alongside of Flint Ridge Prep. And no disrespect to 8-man football. Rio has a great long tradition of 8-man football, of course. But it was a time and a place for that. There was a time to move on, and Rio advanced to 11-man many years ago, 20 years ago to be exact. And Flint Ridge and Chadwick, they've kind of gone a little backwards. Now, do they have good basketball programs? Well, yes, they do. But, Rio has been very successful on the football field, just with great success. And it's not to say they can't do well at other sports. The girls program has been awesome. Has made some runs in softball recently, some basketball championships, of course, volleyball success along the way as well. But mostly here on the program, we talk about our Rio Hondo Prep young men, and we're going to be talking about the basketball team today. Now, remember, with Rio being so small, the the team is basically made up of guys who were on that great football team that went to the second round in Division 7 this past fall and winter. So a quick turnaround, as always is the case with Rio Hondo Prep Sports. Before you know it, these young men will be trading in their sneakers for baseball gloves. So that's just the way it is at Rio Hondo. So I thought we'd take a moment here to talk to the new head basketball coach at Rio Hondo Prep, at least for this season. I'll ask him long-term plans and such, what is going forward. But Ed Drain takes over for the Rio Hondo Prep basketball program after his father, Ken Drain, retired last year. We had a great party for him there in Irwindale in the summer. And man, we're just what a blessing he was to so many of us, mostly on the basketball court. He did have great success coaching football for almost, 15 years or so as a head coach. But Ken Drain retires and his son Ed takes over. So I want to talk to Ed today about the status of the program, how the boys are doing. The record isn't great, but hey, that's nothing wrong with that after a great football season. And, with league play here now, is it kind of a new revival? Has the year been crazy with kind of high school sports here in Southern California with the COVID policies and things? I'm going to try to get into everything with Ed today as we talk about his first year as the head basketball coach for Rio Hondo. Is he doing exactly what his dad did? Is he trying new things? What exactly is the state of the union, if you will, of Rio Hondo Prep basketball? And one of these days we'll chat some girls basketball, maybe the softball team upcoming, very successful last year on the girls side of things. But today I thought we'd dive in and talk to Ed Drain about some Rio Hondo basketball. And Ed was on the program, I think, man, almost 2 years ago, 1 year, however long ago it was, talking about his story. You guys who know Ed know that he's fought and conquered leukemia back in the day when he was a little kid, and just a great story. And he's a great young man now, husband, father, and just doing really well. And I'm curious how the basketball program is going, because yes, people don't believe it, but back in the day, I played a little hoops myself. I was kind of that screen setter, loose ball diver kind of guy, maybe some other things as well, which I'll maybe get into with Ed Drain. Anyway, let's bring him on the program, the head basketball coach of Rio Hondo Prep, Ed Drain. All right, it's my privilege to bring back on the program Eddie Drain, although he has a new title here, a couple of new titles. Number one, father, congratulations, Ed, and of course, head coach of the Rio Hondo Prep basketball program. How's it going, Ed?
It's going good. It's been a busy winter, but I love being busy. So
absolutely. Good. What's the alternative, man? We'd be sitting around doing nothing, twiddling our thumbs. I mean, how fun is that? That's no fun.
Yeah, I hate not being busy.
Well, Ed, we talked a while back about possibly doing something similar to what I did with the football program this last year with the basketball team and maybe other sports at Rio. But honestly, man, it's just very busy for me and tough for me to do all that. I would love to do it. And maybe in the future, we have an official Rio Hondo radio network or whatever. But for now, we'll just have to jump in here for a day and talk some Rio Hondo hoops. But Ed, first of all, you coached in the football season. What were your thoughts on an incredible football season this past fall?
It was a great season. I mean, it's hard to put into words, but those guys put in a lot of work. It's such a fun group. One of the most impressive groups I think I've ever seen. It was rough, the way the playoff system worked, because you'd think, if the playoff system was the same when I was in high school, this is a championship team, easy.
Yeah.
But I still think that Charter Oak game, I've never been so hyped or so pumped during a game. Like I'm not usually one who, you likes to yell or get hyped on. I'm more even keel, because that's what my dad always taught us, But I was turning to the guys on the sideline, like trying to get them pumped up, yelling and things. It was so much fun. Just a special group, man.
That game will go down in RHP history as one nobody will forget. And we will always remember. We'll always remember the guys on that team. Their names may not be on a banner, but quite honestly, their names don't need to be on a banner for us to remember who they were and what they did that night. Incredible stuff. And just for the audience, Ed, what were your responsibilities on the Rio Hondo football coaching staff?
So I was the special teams coach, which I know we
ripped you a little bit.
Yeah, you guys
we ripped you a few times on the podcast
teams.
there, Coach. Yeah. Hey, this is like SEC country. We are hard on our coaching staffs here.
Hey, that's okay. Constructive criticism only can make you better. But I will say, in that Charter Oak game, we did return kickoff for a touchdown. We had a couple big returns there. That's mostly just Gio being Gio. That has nothing to do with me coaching, but that's just...
It's amazing how, as a former coach myself, how good you could look as a coach with really good players.
Yeah.
I mean, even John Wooden said that.
I think it was early in the season. They kicked it deep, because teams were kicking it deep early in the season. They kicked it deep, and I was like, yes, we're going to get to do our return. And we dropped the ball. And then Gio just went and picked it up and scored a touchdown. And they were like, we don't even need your return plays. Just let Gio do it. All right, and I was also the guy on punts where I'd tell Gio if he had time to catch it or not. I remember at Linfield, I told him he was good. But there were guys like right on him, and he ended up returning that one for a touchdown. I was like, I told you guys he was good. Didn't matter how close they were. But, yeah, it's just Gio, JG,
I've always had a special, appreciation for special teams coaches, because I watch a lot of football, and, they show those special teams coaches on the sidelines. If something goes really well, it could be a made field goal and they're losing their mind hyped, or it could be, I don't know, a blocked putter, and something bad happens, they show him, and something really good happens. Other than that, it's like, who's the special teams guy? Anyway, you took on a tall task there as the special forces coach.
Yeah, that Charter Oak game when Gio was returning that kickoff for a touchdown. I was back because I always stand back by the returners to let them know if it's a bad kick, I yell red, just can the return, get it and go. So I'm back there and I see Gio, and Dave starts running at me as he breaks loose, my brother. And he says, Ed did something. Ed did something. And then I was like, I ran down the whole sideline just yelling special teams. I was all special teams. Special teams.
They're special for a reason, man.
Yeah, it was super. I also signaled in the defenses for Mark.
Sure.
Save his voice, we got to signal him in. So, and yeah, I worked with the linebackers as far as position drills were concerned. So
nice. And I want to ask you, because as just as far as coaching goes, sometimes you're good at what you did as far as a teacher and a coach. And then there's other times you're placed in positions where you're coaching something that really you did not do. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You played on was it one or a couple of CIF championship teams in football yourself?
We won my junior year. We lost in the infamous Mud Bowl.
That's right.
Against Linfield my senior year.
Yeah. And you were a man in the trenches, right? You were a man, one of them big linemen up front, offensive and defensive. So you go from playing line both ways to coaching special teams and working with linebackers. So I don't know. That just goes to show you got to be prepared to educate in any form, right?
Yeah, I think too at Rio, you got to be a Swiss Army knife.
Oh, well said.
You gotta know, and you gotta know every position. And I've always, my family, we've always watched game film from when Devin played to when, even when we were watching Landon, just until I started game film every Sunday after church. It was like our family thing. My dad and his 3 sons watching Varsity Boys game film, and just talking about the sport. So, but yeah, just Rio in general, you got to be a Swiss Army knife, man. You got to know it all.
Well, yeah, you go from one sport to another. You have to, there's other responsibilities. You're not just a coach. You're a camp counselor at times. You got to be a tour guide on trips. I mean, Rio really does make guys and girls, everyone who goes through the program, good at a lot of different things. And you even things you're bad at, you got to get good at. If you're good at, you got to get great at. That's just the beauty of the school. And you talked about your dad there, Ed. Your dad coached basketball for a lot of years, started in the early 90s. Great success. Finally got that championship in 2013, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So first off, tell me what it was like for you to follow in the footsteps of your father, Ken Drain, who so many of us played for. I mean, what was it like kind of did you feel when the keys were being handed to you, like, oh man, this is a big responsibility?
Absolutely. I mean, it's all started, I have to go on max preps and I got to set the roster and the coaching staff. And I was talking to my older brother, Devin, and I was like, I don't know if I could take dad's name off this list, off the coaching staff list. That's tough. I mean, it's been there since I was born, but yeah, it's definitely a big responsibility. Just, being a varsity coach in general. I talked to my dad a lot about it. Even before it was kind of announced that I was going to coach, I wanted to make sure that my dad thought I could do it. I was kind of seeking his approval, and, my dad, he's not that kind of guy, so it actually came from my mom. My mom just randomly was like, your dad thinks you can do it. You're going to be fine. And I was like, okay, well, that must be true.
There you go.
But yes, definitely. I feel it. It's also because, I'm a little bit younger and, but definitely big shoes to fill.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah, big time. And we could talk about a few different areas here as far as direction. Are you a guy that when you took over, did you feel I'll just kind of do it exactly how my dad did it? Or did you have kind of new thoughts, new policies? I mean, if I gotta guess, Mr. Drain, he was a 1-3-1 defensive guy. Every now and then we play kind of that matchup man-to-man, box or diamond and one, triangle two in our case back in the day. Maybe press occasionally here and there, but good man offense, good zone offense. What were kind of some of his things you took with you, and what are some of the new changes you kind of brought about the program?
Well, most coaches, I mean, we do what we know, So I love the 1-3-1. I love the 1-3-1 defense. It's something that I always teach when I coach my care teams. They always learn the 1-3-1. But I also love the man. And I think playing man-to-man is super, super important. So man-to-man is kind of our base defense. And then we mix in the 1-3-1 throughout the game just to keep the other team on their toes. As far as philosophy, the goal is to kind of unite varsity, JV, middle school, and all we all want to teach the same thing. Kind of like what we do in football.
I was just going to say, that's one of the reasons real football is so successful, is because that's built in. I mean, it's exactly the same stuff all the way up anyway.
Yeah. So I feel like it's kind of been separate. Like I did different stuff on JV when I played than I did on varsity, like the plays and things. So we kind of want the core concepts and base ideals to be the same middle school through varsity, because to be honest, we're going to be good in football. We always are. That's our thing. So basketball is always going to start late, and basketball is not an easy sport to play catch up in, especially when you have, other schools they have a basketball team and they play year round. So to kind of simplify it, hopefully we're kind of revamping it so that middle school all the way up works with the same core concepts. Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful stuff. It's how it should be. It's kind of what, and no matter who's at the top, no matter what coach is the varsity coach, his philosophies should be educated the step below. I mean, that's how it should always be. But unfortunately, it hasn't been that way, not just with you guys, but other programs too. It's like, you would think it makes natural sense to do that. Defensively, I've always thought in football, there's times you blitz, there's times you play the prevent, there's times you try a different front or whatever. So I've never understood really where teams get locked into one defense, all the time. In basketball, it's like, you want to keep them guessing. You want to keep them. It's tough enough to play defense in basketball, to just go out there and defend, especially the way the rules are and such. But you got to be able to mix things up. So some teams are really good at a 1-3-1 trap, and then they're terrible at man or terrible at a 2-3. It's like, you got to be able in basketball to diversify your defensive sets, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it helps you because not every team that you play against is great at the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a team that is just a knockdown shooting team, then yeah, maybe you want to play a little more pressure man-to-man, make them go to the basket, make them do things that they're not comfortable doing. But if you have a team that can't shoot, you're going to sit back in a zone, and make them pack the middle, make them shoot outside. So you got to
chuck it from the cheap seats.
Yeah.
No drive 12 foot in. You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly. So it's good. Yeah. Versatility defensively, I think is a must.
You notice how I brought defense to the table first, Ed. You know the kind of guy I am. You know how I used to play a little, little
baseline, the 1-3-1. I remember you.
Who's my baseline 1-3-1 guy on your team? I got to know.
You can get. He was a football player,
of course.
I wonder if you can guess.
I'm gonna look at your roster here. Let me see. He's got to be smart. He's got to be intense. Maybe take a charge or two. He's got to never get tired. Never give up the baseline, of course. Oh man, from the roster, I'm gonna go Damian Diaz.
Damian Diaz is our backup baseline guy.
Oh, I was close.
It's Jaden Sanchez.
Jaden, I should have known it. Oh man,
absolute intense, never nonstop hustle, ball hawk.
Oh,
he's all over the place.
I love this. This is this stuff gets me going, Ed. You know what? We steal the ball or get a rebound. All right, we're done. We don't even need to go down to the other end. come on back down here. Let's defend you again.
Yes.
That's my kind of, okay.
If a big man ever brings it down for a power dribble, you better bet Jaden's hands are all over that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be a foul, but that's okay.
Hey.
You can take aggressive fouls.
You get 4.5 of those. You get 4.5 fouls a game. You're okay. Don't worry about it.
Jaden is our baseline man.
Okay,
and he is
good.
very, very good at it. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. He was an incredible middle linebacker in football. That kind of translates to basketball in some ways, I must say. So very good stuff. Now, offensively, we got to score some points at some point. Who are some of your go-to guys offensively? I know Ryan McCole is the big man in the middle there. Who are some of your kind of big time scorers or guys that lead you in scoring usually, or is it kind of a well-balanced group?
Well, scoring has definitely been our kryptonite this year. I'll just say that.
You guys are kicking field goals, are you?
Yeah, it's I'll cut them a little bit of slack. I don't want to make excuses, but we didn't play any basketball at all last year.
Oh, that's right.
Because of COVID. We went relatively deep in football into the basketball season this year. And shooting is something, if you're not constantly doing it, it's hard to be great at it, Yeah. So I will cut them. I don't want to make any excuses, but I'll cut them some slack there. Gio is our primary ball handler. He is good with the ball. He's good going to the basket. I would say Calvin Johnson and Damian Diaz would be our catch and shoot guys. They're good. If they catch, set their feet and go, catch their feet, shoot, they're good. And then, Ryan and Jaden are our interior presence. It's funny, Ryan, he's just so football. You could just tell. He'll get some fouls, and it's just because he's just so aggressive, and guys will fall over because he's so much bigger. I mean, there's guys that are taller than him, but there's no one built like Ryan. Mm-hmm. So he'll get the ball, he'll go into people, and guys will fall over. Refs will call fouls just because they don't know. They don't know how. It's kind of like the Shaq effect.
Yeah. When I was refereeing basketball, I was always kind of on the side of the aggressor, and sometimes not the fancy, pretty, athletic basketball players. And so kind of I'd see these big football players, they knock guys down, and I'd be like, what? I'd be like, what? He didn't do anything. That was how I kind of officiated, similar to how I played, which got me yelled at a lot. But besides the point. Okay, good stuff. And Ryan, I could see him knocking people over left and right. It's just kind of like you do this in football for so many months, and then you have to, take the pads off and try to not hurt. I got more injuries in basketball and hurt more guys in basketball than football, of course. But that's another story. But so Ed, you got different your first. Football's safer. Football is way safer. I don't. This talk of having kids not play football. You got to be careful on that hardwood, in my opinion.
That's bogus.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Nobody can ride in cars because there might be car crashes.
They base it off of NFL players getting injured. But you got to understand the percentage of people that play in the NFL and the speed at which they play at is completely different than what 90% of American kids, or the American football. That's why I said American. It's 90% of kids that grow up playing football. You're never going to play at that speed.
No. We are in the age of safetyism, and it is run rampant. And I'm just I'm so over it now. And what parents do with kids now is beyond me. Like, oh no, better, you might, can you imagine, Ed, back in the day, you're playing as you might scrape your knee outside. Oh no, you can't go outside. Like, that's kind of the mentality now. And it's like, my dad was always like, well, did you learn a lesson? Don't be an idiot,
When I was a senior, baseball game, playoff game, my junior year, I jumped back because I was getting picked off, and I hit the base on the edge, and I rolled my ankle really bad. And my dad was coaching first base, and I rolled it so bad that I was laying there, and my dad goes, "Get on the base." I'm laying there in pain, and it hurts so bad. I'm like, "Get on the base." So I touched the base with my other foot, but I was, he get on the base. Nowadays it's like parents will run on the field. Oh,
The irony is he wanted you to be safe, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
safe.
a funny story. That's the only reason he cared about being safe. Put your cleat on the base. I don't care if you're hurt. That's funny. I just, this day and age, the things I see, and you as a coach, I'm sure the great parents of Rio Hondo Prep, though, they understand their kids are at Rio for that reason, get a little toughness, and they know that, hey, you're building men out there. I mean, you're not out there, doing anything extreme, or you guys are just playing sports and learning toughness. So, Ed, unfortunately, 6-12 on the basketball season, as I'm looking at here correctly.
Yeah.
But you got your first win as a head coach back in December 2nd. United Christian Academy, which is down in Rancho Cucamonga. What was that like? Looks like you guys beat them up by almost 30 points. Did the significance of that win come into play for you, or was it just like, hey, we finally got a W?
I was happy to get the win. I think the one that I was like, yeah, we have arrived. This is awesome. Is when we beat Calvary Baptist, which I think might have been the next game.
Next day, yeah.
That team, they had some good players, and we played really, really well. We shot the ball well. We controlled the ball, didn't lose it. We played good defense. And that game where I was like, this is awesome. All right, I'm excited. Here we are. Varsity basketball. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about kind of tournaments, typically Rio would go up to Bishop, way up there in not Northern or Central California, but up quite a ways. It was always fun for us guys around Christmas time, get a bus trip, stay in hotels. You're the only game in town. So it's kind of this college type of feel, but I don't know. It looks like you guys didn't do that this year. What were some of the tournaments you and your team traveled to this year?
So the plan was to do Bishop. Bishop actually called us in early December and said they didn't have enough teams. So we went to the Tri-City tournament, which is in Carlsbad instead. And then before that, we were in Ojai. The Ojai tournament was fun.
Way up there.
Yeah, it's way up there. It's like inland from Ventura. So we actually stayed in a hotel in Ventura.
Sweet.
And then traveled to daily to the tournament. Tournaments are fun. Yeah, the boys really, they love staying in the hotels. They love being together and playing ball.
Being boys, being high school young men. Yeah, what could go wrong, right?
No, yeah. I mean, they're having fun. We we went to a Wiener Schnitzel at like 11 o'clock at night, and we had to walk through the drive-through, and because they closed the inside, and they thought it was the greatest thing ever. It was awesome,
Yeah.
We're sticking our head in the speaker, ordered, So
it's amazing what makes young men happy, and like it. You can either go find trouble, which a lot of people do, or really embrace the funny things around you like that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was awesome. The hotel gave us instead of their continental breakfast, they gave us coupons to get free stuff at the local Denny's. So we went to Denny's each morning for breakfast.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
We won a couple games up there.
Oh yeah, basketball too. Yeah, I forgot. Okay.
Yeah, we played basketball, won a couple games up there, but the whole experience is what is special. Mm-hmm. Especially for them, spending time together, in both tournaments.
Well, you don't do that in any other sport. You don't go to a place and play 3 or 4 games in a row. It's football's 1 game a week. Baseball, maybe you play in tournaments, but they're different. Basketball's fun that way. The game's only about an hour and a half, and you go into these gyms, you do your routine. It's so much fun. So how did you guys finish in those tournaments? Manage to get a win or two? Let's see. Maybe not so much, but look, Cal Baptist, that tournament.
We did get a win at Ojai.
Nice.
Carlsbad Tri-City tournament, we didn't have our full team. Ryan got to play in a offense defense All-American Bowl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was in SoFi Stadium.
I didn't know this, man.
So
We would have covered it.
Yeah, he played. So he played in that, and it was during that tournament. So we were missing him. We had a couple guys who weren't feeling well, and because of all the protocols and stuff, they weren't supposed to come. So we played that tournament, I think, with 6 guys, and we played 4 games in 3 days, and you could tell the legs were done.
That's rough, man. Oh, that's rough. 6 guys.
The legs were done. So yeah, it's been a tough season. But that's okay. Tough seasons are okay. They help you can grow through those.
Build some, as long as you're building something, as long as you're growing, you see teams at other levels who, have rough years and they're not getting better at anything. They're not at the professional level. It's all about wins and such, but high school, I mean, it is about building and growing, as you said. And so as long as there's improvement and there's lessons every day, wins and losses and just the preparation, that's what's really important. That's why you play sports. We want to win games, of course. But we already mentioned the football program. They didn't win a championship, but to me, those guys are one of the greatest teams in RHP history. So lessons and losses. Unfortunately, no one likes losing more than me. Likes it less than me. And the Bible does say run to win, not win, run to try hard or whatever. But anyway, let's get into league play, Ed. The Prep League, the vaunted Prep League, Pasadena Poly, Flint Ridge Prep, Chadwick, Providence, and I think that's it. Is that
That's
correct?
it. Yep.
Okay. Tough league in basketball, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, so we played Flint Ridge first again, and we were down a couple players, which is never any fun when you don't have your full squad there. We're looking to get some redemption, I guess, against everybody the second time around. The Chadwick game was I feel like was one of our best games that we played. As far as the defense, the defense was there. We took care of the ball. Now the issue with us is right now it's been scoring. I think we scored 25 points in the fourth quarter of the Chadwick game, and we had 49 for the
49 for the total. Yeah.
Yeah. So scoring is something about basketball that it's just tough. You're on some nights, you're off some nights. It's an up and down type thing. But I always tell the guys, your effort, I'm grading you on your effort.
Yeah.
The shooting, making shots it's a variable that sometimes is hard to control. Even Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. He shoots 40%. Right.
Well, some guys can score with kind of guys all over them with a hand in the face. That's what makes the great ones, the great shooters, especially. Yeah. But for other guys, you need that open look, which you don't always get. You need you don't always get the open, the wide open jump shot or the layup. I mean, it's being able to score while you're guarded, and unfortunately, it's a lot of times those guys are the guys that play basketball year round.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and our league has always been tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been tough because the teams that we play against, they have a basketball team, and that team plays year round.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I think, you kind of uniting the middle school through the varsity will help us, when football season goes long, or so that we're not so far behind the 8 ball when we start, but again, all these games, I mean, the first half of Poly, we held them to 25 points, which is good. That's a good defensive effort. And now we only scored 10 or something. So, that's tough, but we're playing good defense, that we're rebounding. The effort's all there. We just got to start putting it in the hole,
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you lost to Flint Ridge the first time, a pretty rough score. You are playing them again this Friday. This episode will air on the 21st, the home game against Flint Ridge Prep. at the Stiver Center, no longer the old American Savings Pavilion home court advantage, but that Stiver Center is pretty nice as well. So if anyone is in town looking for a basketball game, maybe stop on by 5150, see if Rio can compete with those Flint Ridge Prep. I'm not calling them the Wolves. They're the Rebels.
They're the Rebels. They'll never be the Wolves. I don't even. The Wolves. I can't even believe they did that. I do have to say that game got moved, the varsity game.
Breaking news. Here we go.
So yeah, with the protocols, games have been getting moved all over the place.
I want to talk about that. Yeah.
So we're actually playing Flint Ridge next Wednesday.
Okay.
So it's still home. The game time will be 4:45 though, because there's not there won't be any JV games or games like that before. So it'll just be the varsity game, 4:45.
These teams that don't have lights for football, and they schedule things weird all the time. Come on, Rebels, you're killing me. So yeah, the 26th.
Hold on, Matt. So I got someone knocking on a door.
Oh, go right ahead. I'll give us a pause here.
Okay.
You're a busy man, Ed, getting door knocks in the middle of interviews here. No problem. No problem. We
I love being busy though.
That's right. That's right. So tell me what it's been like for these games to be moving. And I followed a few things on Twitter. I mean, California COVID policies could be a whole episode, but with games being indoors, I guess it's more dangerous than crowds gathering and outdoors. I don't want to get into all of it, but what has it been like for you and your team? Kind of just a lot of late game scratches.
Yeah. So I guess the prep league decided if you have guys in protocols, you call the other team and you have to reschedule. So basically we've canceled other non-league games that we've had at the end of the year to free up dates. You're supposed to leave as many dates as possible open for reschedules because they can happen. So Flint Ridge emailed Mr. Carson Mark and said, hey, we need to move the varsity game. And we have to say, okay, we'll play next Wednesday. We have this date open. It's still our home game.
Yeah.
We've moved. Paulie moved, I think, twice for us. We ended up playing them on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Providence hasn't moved yet. Chadwick moved for the girls, varsity girls. They had to move. So there's just a lot of moving parts. But we want to play the games. So
definitely. And as far as home games go, is that pretty open to the general public, or is it kind of condensed or anything as far as fans go, or is kind of anyone able to attend?
So our policy, excuse me, you can come. We do say wear a mask inside while you're watching the game, but yeah, feel free to come and watch if you're available. You got the time.
Nice. And how about the alumni game? Is there going to be I know there's every year there seems to be an alumni game from the guys that were on the team 10 years ago. Is there an alumni game planned for this year?
There is an alumni game. It is on the 29th. So January 29th. I believe it's the 2012 team. So that is my brother Dave, Steve Smith, Ryan Wiley, the Tycho brothers.
Oh boy.
KJ Moore. So and I think my dad is going to coach the alumni game now that he's retired. He's going to coach the alumni.
Absolutely. Switching benches. I love it. He absolutely should coach that alumni team. That's awesome. Bring him out of retirement, one game a year. I'm sure he can tolerate that. And he's probably, let's see, is he going to get a W there, Ed? I don't no. Drain versus Drain.
No way. Well, usually, it doesn't matter whether the alumni team is better. It matters how in shape the alumni team is.
Press them and run them wild.
So we'll see. I mean, Ryan Wiley, he's probably our best basketball player to go through our school, and he'll be there. So
yeah, and most of those guys played on that 2013 championship team. So tall task ahead for you. Hey, get your scouting report out, coach, and be ready to go.
Yeah, well, hey, we're going to run them. We got to run them.
Get
them tired. Run them into the ground.
A rough basketball season, but at Rio, that's kind of how things go. You go sport to sport, year to year. sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. You try to make some good runs in the playoffs and such. But the boys will be playing baseball here before you know it. I got to ask you, Ed, as a first-year head coach and someone who followed in your dad's footsteps, former referee and me, needs to know, has there been any technical fouls this year, Ed?
Yes.
I knew it.
I guess I'll say it. I did get tossed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was in the Ojai tournament. I'm young, hot-headed, I guess. It was actually the guy who threw me out was late to the game. We had to wait for him to show up, but my dad was there.
Oh,
and I got a double tech, just right after, just the same breath.
Double tapped.
Okay. A double T. And I left, and the first thing I did, I called my dad. I called him and I said, "Dad." He's all, "Ed, you can't yell at officials. You just can't do it." And the first thing, I didn't say it to him, but in my head, I'm thinking, he's telling me not to yell at officials.
He's gotten wiser. It is.
Hey, it's not like what he's saying is wrong. He's saying the right thing, but.
Mr. Drain said, "Don't yell at what?" Sorry.
So yeah, but I haven't been teed up since then. I learned from it. And I've talked to Mark, getting a lot of advice from people. You can't go into the game expecting every call to be made correctly and all the, So yeah, I haven't been teed up since then. Those are my only 2 texts of the year.
Gotcha. And so, who now? I know maybe staff short. I don't know, but who's coach shooter? Who's on the bench with you? Is there anyone on the bench with you? Who's assisting you during the game?
So JT Parker is my assistant. Mark sits on the bench whenever he can. Being the AD and all, he's not at every game. Sometimes he's got to go to other games. And then my brother Dave has been on the bench a couple times. But JT and I do the varsity.
Very cool. It's so crazy, man, to see you guys coaching on the varsity now. Back when you guys were teammates from kindergarten on. I remember reffing your games, and then you guys played in some big games, and then for you to go through high school, now you guys are coaching high school. I mean, it's no offense or anything. It's really weird. I'm like, man, that's crazy. But JT and you have been such good friends for so long. It's got to be special coaching alongside him in all sports, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I love coaching with JT. I love coaching. He's my best friend. So anytime we can spend together, especially doing sports, is awesome. He does have, his first year as baseball head coach, he won a championship. So he does have that on me. I don't.
He did a great job with those guys a few years ago, and hopefully can make another run here soon. Ed, what are your thoughts on just the future of Rio Hondo Prep athletics in general? I mean, football is always going to be the number one priority, probably the best thing Rio does. There is basketball, there is baseball. There's only so much you can do with the enrollment and such, but what are your thoughts for the future of Rio Hondo Prep athletics?
Yeah, well, for, football is king, and it should be, it is what we do the best. It does bring in the most fans, as you could say. It's every Friday, it's a massive event, I do feel good about the future of athletics, not just football. I mean, football, we're always going to be great. We got a lot of good classes coming up. But I think basketball and baseball too are going to continue to get better. I think we have a good plan in place. We want to get the enrollment up. I think it all starts with getting the enrollment up, and we have a good plan for that. We got a good new admissions team at Rio. I think this is the first time we've actually had an admissions team, that's focused solely on getting kids in the school. We're still trying to get primarily kids from Care Youth League, which I think is one of the best things we can do is get kids from Care. But we do events like last Saturday, we held a basketball jamboree for all these 6th graders in Care Youth League. And we gave them a tour of the campus. Mark and Mr. Ixta Edwin had a booth set up for applications and and so forth. So I think as we build the enrollment and speaking basketball specific, as we, unify the system and the philosophies that we have, everything's going to keep getting better. So
the
I
program,
think
the school does seem to be going in a great direction.
absolutely.
I mean, we haven't even talked about the girls' sports program. Maybe we will here soon. They're doing very well. Some of the improvements at the campus themselves is phenomenal. The baseball backstop I saw recently, some of that courtyard area is getting improved upon. There really are some big things ahead for Rio Hondo Prep, and I've mentioned it on this podcast before. Next year I want to do I'm going to keep this pod, but I want to have Rio Hondo football specific podcast that we may talk other sports throughout the year, once a month or something. I think it's a good way for the program to grow, and just really, really excited about it. And it's good to see Rio is trying to bring in more people. I've said for a long time that Rio is the best high school experience you're going to have. I truly, truly believe that, no matter what you're looking to do, what your goals are, education, the arts, athletics, Rio has it all, man. Unlike maybe some other schools out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the drama performance that the girls put on each year. I mean, as far as I don't know a lot about drama, but
Yeah.
My friend, JT does. He was in a couple plays at Citrus. We put on one of the best shows in the area as
Definitely.
far as props, costumes, things like that. So it's not just, RHP is expanding more of hopefully a destination for more than just one type of person,
Yeah, it's going to be that school, hopefully, that it's not so much anymore. Oh yeah, I've heard of them. It's like, oh yeah, I've heard of them. It's a different vibe, I think, and things are going in a great direction with great leadership. Vice Principal Ixta, Principal Johnson, Mark Carson, the athletic director, you guys in the coaching staffs and such. Big things. You always wondered, when the other coaches in high school retired and the administration retired and moved on, what would it be like? But I think things are in good hands, headed in a great direction. I want to ask you, Ed, about your dad, Mr. Ken Drain, who retired back in August. We had that great, huge party for him. So many former players were there. As a son and as a brother, I mean, what was that like for you and your family to kind of give Mr. Drain that nice send-off? And not so much a send-off, but more of a thank you from so many people.
Yeah, it's kind of just like incredible to see, the amount of people or former players that showed up, and the amount of players that he had a impact on their lives. You've had people on the podcast where they say, things I learned from Coach Drain, I still talk about or put in place today. And, he was a father, not just to his 5 kids, but to everyone he came into contact with, all his players. And I just, as his son and, being a coach now, that's my goal. My dad said winning comes, but losing is also there too. He didn't always win. But there's more to it than winning and losing, especially at Rio Hondo Prep. And my dad, I think, embodied that and put that into so many of his players. So as his son, it's incredible to see. And it's also something that I would love to get to that place one day,
Special man indeed. And I think I speak for most of us when, I say every day I still have that feeling of walking to the sideline or walking to the bench, and to know at the end of my day, am I going to get, lectured by Mr. Drain for stuff I did not do, or am I going to get not much praise there? I mean, maybe a slap on the back or whatever from Coach Drain, but I have that feeling at the end of every day now, no matter what my job, whatever. It's just like that walking to the sideline feeling during a timeout or at the end of a game and be like, what did I leave out there? Did I perform my very best for Coach Drain? So I think so many of us will carry that on in all of our walks of life, and it's going to be his legacy lives on. We'll say, his impact. I mean, it really is special. And I know you talked about him before, but it's been a while, and especially the retirement party. That was a lot of fun. Ed, let me ask you about one of your newer titles. What's it like being a father to little Olivia? Did I have that correct?
Yes, Olivia.
Right.
11 months. It
Wow.
is awesome. It's one of the things I've always dreamed about. You know, when my wife and I got married, you know, I was the one kind of pushing for a kid, you know, and I feel like sometimes it's usually the other way around, you know. But I've always wanted to be a father. I just feel like, you know, because I had a great dad, and I just wanted to be a dad to someone. I've seen my friends become dads. You know, JT has 3 kids now. You know, my Jason Wiley has, you know, all people around me, we're all having kids together, which is awesome. But being a father it's one of the greatest things ever, you know. She doesn't, you know, say words yet, or, you know, she just started moving around a little. So I know that the fun stuff is coming, you know, running around, playing with her and things like that.
You could tell she's watching you though. She's watching your every move, right?
Oh, absolutely. So she'll mimic things that we do. You know, we were watching the 49er game on Sunday because we're, you know, all Drains, we're Niner fans.
It's you guys' only fault. The Drain family, special group of people. That's the only fault I find in you guys. That's it. Everyone needs one. That just shows you the only perfect person on this planet was our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Right.
Everyone else, there's some flaw. Anyway, proceed.
So, you know, my brother and I, because we're over there watching, you know, we're clapping, and then she's just over there like, you know, talking to herself, or she waves now. We taught her, I always wave goodbye to her. So she waves. She's been waving for a while, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, she's always watching. And that's also, you know, pressure. You know, you got to make sure, especially when she starts learning how to talk, you know, you got to make sure the things you're watching on the television, things you're listening to, you know, they're going to hear all these things. And, you know, I think that's one thing that my dad was so great at. You know, I never heard anything negative, you know, as far as him talking to my mom or him talking to my older brother, older sister, you know. I never learned anything negative from my dad except yelling at refs. But yeah, it's hard to put into words, but it's being a father is the best.
Oh man, that's awesome to hear, man. I'm very happy for you, and for all you guys, and that is really cool. You got a wonderful wife, wonderful in-laws, you know, in the Martin family. I mean, special. It's like 2 special families bonded together. I mean, you guys got to be just incredibly happy and blessed. It's awesome to see, man. So congrats on
story though. Okay, so you know how you can go check your child's gender, right? While they're in the womb.
Like a gender reveal party?
Gender reveal. So we went earlier than you're supposed to, but they said you could go. So we went, and we did this gender reveal, whatever, and it was a boy. Okay, we were having a boy, and I was like, woo, yeah, you know, he's gonna be on Carson's team, which is my brother's son. You know, he's going to be I would always tell Devin he's going to be Carson's best player on his team, you know. So we have it all planned out, you know. We're really excited to have a boy. And then my wife goes to her appointment. That's like 21-week appointment. And she comes back and she walks in, and I'm like, uh-oh, what's happening? And she goes, we're having a girl. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, what are you talking about? And she's all, we're having a girl. Because at the 21 week appointment, that's when everything's there and 100%,
Wow.
If you go earlier, it's still, iffy, but they're not supposed to tell you till they're 100% sure. So we had to, redact everything. We're having a girl now. It was in 2020. So
yeah,
I never posted Instagram or Facebook, but I posted this. I was like, classic 2020. They got it wrong. But I remember the way I told Devin, because we live and our garages are like perpendicular to each other because we live in the same complex.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
So he'll always text me garage. So we open the garage and
love it.
We'll go. So I texted him garage. Then I walk out there and I'm kind of sad. And he goes, "What's wrong?" I go, "Carson just lost his best player."
Lost his player. You gotta be careful with that. Be careful saying it like that.
Yeah, I know. And then he's all, "What are you talking about?" It's all, "We're having a girl." And then my dad, it was funny. I told my dad, and he's all, "That's great, Ed. Girls are awesome."
He's dealt with enough boys. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, she's great. I'm super happy that we had a girl.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that was just so funny because we had to go tell everyone, never mind. It's a girl.
Did you guys post the gender reveal? Wasn't there a baseball bat or something involved?
So I posted the gender reveal of it being a boy.
The blue, right? Yeah. I remember that.
My next post was never mind. It's a girl. And I was like, I'm never posting to social media again. This is embarrassing.
Good lesson. Well, it's funny. Yeah. In today's age, generally it's a lot more accurate. But my father constantly reminds both my brother and I that not just me, but both of us were predicted to be girls. And so he never lets us live that day. Every chance he gets, he's like, yeah, they were right. Or what? He hammers us all the time, but yeah, not one, but both. So that is really funny, Ed. What did you make of that final play in the Dallas 49er game? You guys are watching it together. There's an official involved, the play call itself. I mean, were you just happy that the clock went to zeros and the Niners won, or what did you make of that whole fiasco in Dallas?
So I know some people have criticized Dak Prescott, but I don't mind what he did. I don't mind running and sliding, but you got to RHP, you hand the ball to the official.
And make a path for him. You know where he's coming from. You know where he's coming. I mean, at least you should know. You should know that stuff based off of your, extensive research.
Yeah. And I mean, I was freaking out because the Niners, man, they had no timeouts and you're letting them run out of bounds every play.
Oh,
every single play. They went out of bounds to stop the clock. That's like defense 101.
I know.
And then also as a coach, Jimmy G, just wait till everyone's set and run your quarterback sneak.
That was awful.
What are you doing?
The false start or illegal shift. I mean, he didn't let the big man get set. We're not even talking about all that. I mean, that is AA, AAA Youth League football.
So it's like you'd think these guys at the highest level could, figure it out. But, they still make mistakes. And that's why I always think, hey, RHP, best coaching staff alive.
Yeah.
Best around,
Details.
The details matter. The little things matter.
So much. If guys making $30, $40 million a year can make big time mistakes in big time situations, I mean, what you're dealing with 16, 17-year-old high school kids, it's just like everyone makes mistakes. You just have to limit them. And
we do drills where part of the drill is handing the ball to the official. And one of the coaches is the official.
That's great.
Gotta always hand it to the official. If Dak would have done that, they probably would have been able to clock it. And
yeah. Some people are hammering the play. I guess I would, but if you looked how the 49ers were set, they finally put 3 guys outside the numbers on each sideline. Like, you're not getting out of bounds here. So that made the decision difficult. But to hammer the refs or whatever in that situation, I'm like, dude, no, you can't do that. Not on that play. I mean,
I thought it was a headsy play until he didn't give it to the ref.
Yeah. And then they try to spot it themselves. They're blocking it. Oh,
yeah,
crazy.
spotted themselves. They know the rules. The ref has to touch it and before you can do these things. But it's, that's why they probably don't practice that.
Yeah. And they said, we practice this. We practice it. You didn't practice enough of the details of this play.
It's got to be it's got to be a habitual thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, in clutch moments, you freak out.
You shouldn't have to think about certain things. If you that's the thing about practicing things. They should almost get boring, the repetition of them. You're like, does this even matter? But in the heat of the moment, I mean, you look at the military, a lot of their training and stuff. It's like, why are we even practicing this? But when the bullets start flying, it's a very serious subject there. But just to paint a picture, like you don't want to think about things. You just want second nature. So anyway,
that whole wax on, wax off thing. The rules,
You're right.
I mean, why do I have to do this? And then you get in the moment and it's like, that's why we're doing this,
Well, as a Rams fan, Ed, no one scares me more than the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams got to play Brady and then the defending champ Bucks this weekend. Aaron Rodgers is probably the baddest man on the planet, but the 49ers scare me. That said, I think I would love an NFC championship at SoFi, the second home of the 49ers, and the 49ers to come to LA and
Rams
maybe those
look good against the Cardinals.
They did.
The Bucks are missing people.
They're banged up, especially on the offensive line. So I hope that makes a difference. Tom Brady's really good at just saying, all right, fine, quick passes to beat a rush. But if the Rams can get pressure on Brady and stop the run, they got a shot because they're if their defense leads the way, in my opinion, the Rams can play ball. They can't tackle Deebo Samuel or any of those other 49er guys, but they seem to play well otherwise.
I have two criticisms of Kyle Shanahan.
Let's hear
One, why we leave George Kittle to pass block way too much? He's one of the best tight ends in football, and 50% of pass plays he's pass blocking. I don't understand that.
Can match protect, man.
And then two, Shanahan freezes when he has a lead, man. He was the guy, 28-3 Falcons. That was his offense.
I know. Let's throw it. Let's throw it
My
20
brother
times.
Dave always jokes, I hope we're losing going into the fourth quarter because that's when Shanahan's at his best. If we're winning, I don't know. We're in trouble.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah. Because, 23-7, it got close. And, man, if he can get the ball in the hands of Deebo Samuel some way, somehow, to me, that is how they are most successful. Keep it out of Jimmy G. Yeah. When Jimmy G's handing off a bunch, when they ran the ball like 40 something times against the Rams on that Monday night game, I was just pulling my hair out, throwing my phone.
I think they said we're undefeated when we have 30 rush attempts or something like that this year.
The Bible says run to win. Why is you can have all these fancy offenses and punt returners playing quarterback and all this stuff. Run the ball. The game doesn't change. Oh my goodness.
The game. You can try to change the game as much as you want, but if you can run the football, it just opens everything else up.
Everything. The play action. I'm sorry. Jimmy G's a better quarterback when the 49ers are running for 150 yards. Matt Stafford, even Jared Goff, when the Rams were able to run the football, he looked really good. So.
I mean, even the Packers, when Aaron Jones is playing well, they're unstoppable. They have Aaron Rodgers, but.
What do you think of the two NFC games, the Rams and the Niners? Does each of them have a chance this week against the two Bay teams?
Well, I will say the Packers don't always play well against the Niners in the postseason.
No. However, this one's at Lambeau, a little different.
It is at Lambeau, but the Niners, I mean,
I'm with you though. No, I'm with you. If I was a betting man, I honestly would take the Niners based off of history. Based off of, the unfair drama, in my opinion, around Aaron Rodgers a little bit. I think the Niners are the NFL's scariest team right now.
I like the Rams against the Bucks.
Do you?
Akers looked amazing last week.
Oh, my goodness.
And then if OBJ starts playing like he played last week, him and Kupp, that's hard to defend. And Higbee's no slouch.
No, you're right.
I like the Rams. I think they'll beat the Bucks.
I like OBJ being this like second secondary guy. Just,
if he
stay
can
out of
just
the drama.
his role, just that's it. I mean, the best coaches in all professional sports are the guys who can manage the egos the best.
Yeah. No, you're right. No, I think McVay really does that well in LA, and Shanahan is kind of that quiet scientist who I've always said gets more out of less, but he doesn't have less this year. He's got a good team, good players. And is Bosa healthy? Is he going to play?
Well, Warner was one I was worried about, but he's not listed as an injury on the injury list, so that's good. Bosa practiced yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we can't miss those. And what's it with? I don't understand the Niners. It's like it's always their best defensive players that get hurt. Why can't it just be remember it was Navarro Bowman who shattered his leg. It's never like the guy you want to get hurt. If you don't want anyone to get hurt.
No, I got you. There's a second string guy on the punt team. It's like your star player, but they're always you think about it, they're always in the middle of things. So it's kind of like, it makes sense. Man, Aaron Donald, Greg Gaines, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, they got to get to Brady, and they got to get to Brady without having to blitz. If they can if they can sack Brady, I'm going to say 5's a high number. I'll go 4. If they can sack Brady once a quarter, I think the Rams really do have a chance in Tampa Bay. They beat them this year already, and they beat them on the road last year. That doesn't always translate. But I think running's going to be tough with that Vita Vea guy in the middle.
The Bucs defense is good, man.
So
their middle linebacker was his last name White.
Devin White.
He was incredible last
One of the only Devons I know who likes to tackle people. I'm just kidding, my brother. Richard, kidding.
Hey, if Devin liked hitting people, he wouldn't have hurt his finger his senior year, huh? Right? Jersey tackle.
Devin had a massive grip. He's reached out and grabbed, and he let go, and it snapped his finger. And then I got to throw the ball. Thank you, Devin. Appreciate you, man. He's like, what? Am I going to be ready for basketball?
Devin is our favorite brother to make fun of, but it's only because we respect him. Okay.
I'll say that. He's my favorite friend to make fun of because I respect him. We'll say that. Love him. I got to get him back on the podcast real soon. My good friend, Devin, always fun. Maybe if there's a 49er Rams matchup next week, maybe I bring on a bunch of 49er fans. It's an epidemic. We have too many of them, but you guys, I tolerate.
The Rams left for so long, and nobody wants to be a Raider fan. Nobody.
Well, San Quentin and the other prisons. I mean, I'm sure, but that's a different story. I'm gonna get hammered by somebody for like always saying that, but it's true. You tell me, does crime go down or not when the Raiders are playing? Those 3.5 hours, I think the streets are safe. That's just my opinion. People are busy watching the Raider game.
I'm gonna go no comment there.
Good decision. Good decision. And this has been fun, man. Thanks for chatting basketball with me. Some NFL football, fatherhood, the Drain family. Time flies when you're having fun, and in this case, really did. Hey, good luck. Maybe a win or two in the prep league. Definitely looking forward to that alumni game against your dad. This has been fun, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is awesome. Thank you.
All right, Ed. We'll talk to you soon. Maybe baseball season, or hey, next week even with the
anytime.
Hey, both our teams will lose. Who knows? Anyway, good luck to everything. My best to the family, Ed. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Ed Drain, for coming on the Get Home Safe podcast, talking some Rio Hondo hoops with us. Good luck to you and your team in moving forward. Been a rough season, of course, wins and losses wise, but again, lessons learned is the most important part, and building of the program, hopefully with growth and things of that nature, is definitely top of the list. And so good luck, Rio Hondo Prep men, in moving forward on the basketball hardwood and in the baseball diamond, and to the ladies out there too, working hard in basketball and softball upcoming. Rio Hondo Prep Athletics alive and well, and pursuing excellence as always. So we'll try to bring on some more Rio Hondo Prep sports topics and stories here in the next month or so, just to kind of keep everybody informed of how things are going as far as Rio Hondo Prep goes, of course, here on the Get Home Safe podcast. Guys, some big games this weekend upcoming. 49ers at Packers, Rams at Buccaneers. On the NFC side of things, And of course, on the AFC, Bills at Chiefs and Bengals at Titans. Can't wait. The final 8 teams of the NFL by the end of Sunday night will know who the final 4 is. And very excited for that. Ed, of course, rooting for his Niners, me rooting for my Rams. We'll see what happens. It should be a lot of fun. Enjoy the games this weekend, guys. We'll be back on Tuesday to recap those games. Hopefully good news. There should be plenty to talk about, more drama, maybe more referee decisions, and Dak Prescott. Well, he's not in it anymore, but those type of decisions, those type of weird plays, we will talk all about on Tuesday, on the Tuesday edition of the podcast, and try to have a new guest for you on Friday. Always working on it. Always trying to reach out to people. If you'd like to come on the pod and talk about, well, anything, could be NFL, could be sports, could be current events, news, Rio Hondo Prep stuff, whatever you want to do, let me know. Reach out to me. Or if you have a suggestion, please send them my way. Always looking for great people to sit down and chat with here on the Get Home Safe podcast. Going to try to keep this thing going. I say it every week, but Tuesdays and Fridays for now. It might change. It might not. I don't know. I like talking to people. So we're going to try to keep that going here on a weekly basis, twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays here on the Get Home Safe podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Facebook and Instagram is Get Home Safe Podcast. Twitter handle is Get Home Safe Pod. And our email address, gethomesafepodcast@yahoo.com. Send in a voice message. Look at the episode notes. Click on that link. Really simple. Whatever you want to do, guys. Love to hear from you. Ask me questions. Send me topics. They can really be about anything. I'm always looking for something to talk about. So the more the fans jump in and get involved, the happier I am, the less work for me. No, all kidding aside, I enjoy doing this. I'm going to try to keep plugging away. Just keep showing up, keep working hard. That's what we're here for on the Get Home Safe podcast. Guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy the football games. January football is the best. It's playoff time. It's just so much excitement right now. The holidays are behind us. The new year is upon us, 2022. Some great games ahead, more sporting events. UFC is, oh man, it's just tidal wave of fun and sports and emotion. Can't wait to get to it all. We'll talk about it on Tuesday. Guys, have a great weekend. But as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or rounding third base, get home safe.